They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. What does that mean for Zaven Collins? And I think we know what it means. It's a make or break year, right?
I assume that he qualifies as a defensive end, right? As like an edge rusher for that 5th-year option.
Yes, I think so.
Right?
Yeah, because he played that last year.
I think it would have been snaps over his entire career and what position he played.
You don't think it's
a huge difference? If he qualifies as an edge rusher, there's no chance they were going to pick up that option because.
But I don't even think they would pay him inside linebacker.
If he qualifies as a linebacker, it's about anywhere from 12 to 13 million, and they weren't going to pick that up.
Zaven Collins is going to get every opportunity to have a good year. Zaven Collins, the best thing that Zaven Collins had happen to him was Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis arrived in Arizona. Gannon and Zaven Collins are super close. We know people out in the community of Arizona that have seen the two of them just out eating together, vibing together. He wants good things for Zaven Collins. He wants good things for all of his players. But Zaven Collins, at the end of the day, if Zaven Collins doesn't succeed this year and he doesn't get a new contract in Arizona, I don't know if there's a better place for him to have an opportunity, frankly, Bo.
Right. And this is a guy that had to transition to a brand new position last year. I mean, he went from a guy playing off-ball linebacker to rushing the passer as a edge defender. And, it was for him that was a huge undertaking for him to take on, and 3.5 sacks, and you saw some good things from him, but you need to see the consistency and you need to see, an uptick in numbers. But this is completely different than a year ago when we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals declining the 5th-year option on Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons, I mean, we're declining the 5th-year option, and this is probably his last year in the desert. We didn't even know he wasn't going to get to the season beginning, but there is an absolute buy-in to what Gannon is doing from Zaven Collins, and you've seen it just as far as from when he talks to the media to how coaches speak about Zaven Collins and the opportunities that he's been provided, that he's been able to carve out from his buy-in to the coaching staff. So I think that it means that his 5th-year options decline, but I don't think that means it's the end of his Arizona Cardinals career after this season, where that's absolutely what was the writing on the wall with Isaiah Simmons.
I think there's a good chance, Lou T points it out, this isn't Hassan Reddick with Steve Keim. I think if Zaven Collins has 6-7 sacks this year, there's a chance they go to him and I don't want to call it team friendly, but it's friendly enough for you bring him back, maybe on a 2-year deal. And that doesn't behoove you from going out and adding an edge rusher in the first round of the draft. They can do that, and they can have Zaven be a glue guy, rotational pass rusher. He basically is somebody in a position, Bo, that, okay, I can go in. I can be somebody that this locker room trusts. I can be a plus run defender. There's no reason why Zaven Collins can't help himself. I think he will. And if you ask me right now, I think Zaven Collins is going to have a good year, and I think he'll be back. I think he'll be a priority free agent for them because it's a premium position. They've molded him, I don't want to say from scratch, but everything he's learning now is he's learning under the tutelage of Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon and his position coach. So,
where Zaven Collins, when we were watching him at this time last year, and we were giving you reports hey, he's working out with the pass rushers. He's not working with Kazir White.
Right.
He's not working with, whoever I guess you can consider Isaiah Simmons. He wasn't working out with the guys that we saw him work out with the first 2 years of his career.
Right.
And it was clear that he was going to be a pass rusher. And then you're seeing him work with, Robert Rodriguez, their pass rush coach. And throughout practice, there's a guy that's just working on his hand movements and trying to work on all of the technique. He was so brand new to this position, and he found, he found success, considering that he was completely raw at playing the pass rush position. I mean, we went from off ball where you're a couple of yards off the line of scrimmage to basically making contact, with tackles immediately, and having to have the, create your whole repertoire of pass rush moves on the fly. The fact that he got 3.5 sacks, if he can double it, like you'd mentioned, if he can get to 6.5, 7, and becomes a really rock solid rotational player, I mean, that's good for the Cardinals to have.
Like, get the Dennis Gardeck contract of a couple years ago, or whatever that is, the going rate of that with inflation. Like Tommy Dillard in the chat, Zaven had a higher grade against anyone against the run, 73.9. Like, if he consistently produces in the run and he gives you supplemental sacks, I'm totally with you. I'm glad you brought up Isaiah Simmons too. This is night and day from last year.
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons was not a fit for their locker room. Let me emphasize that. Not only was he not a fit on the field, and they've kept other good football players around that they're trying to figure out what to do, a la Zaven Collins. Isaiah Simmons, they got him out of their locker room purposely. They said goodbye for a ham sandwich late round pick. Zaven Collins is a glue guy that elevates everybody from a personal and professional level. He's a incredibly high character guy, just like DJ Humphries was. So they need players like that, because all of these rookies are impressionable. You don't think you want Zaven Collins around Xavier Thomas? Of course you do. So he's a guy that I think has still some upside. I'm not like, I know a lot of people were upset. I put a tweet out after the draft, like, good weekend for Dortch and Zaven Collins, right? No receivers drafted. The edge rusher they took was late on day 3. Zaven Collins has every opportunity now with Justin Jones and Demaryius Robinson and Powell and these guys, Ojulari on the other side, to be productive this year. And now it's up to him, just like it's up to K1. It's up to Zaven Collins now to put it all together. And I'm not going to bet against him. He started the year really strong too, by the way, and then he hit a little bit of a wall. Like, can he just have sustained success every week or so? There's a sack, there's a pressure, there's a forced fumble, making impactful plays. They're not going to get rid of him. They have too much money. If he's productive for him, he'll be back. The 5th-year option does not matter.
Well, you got to change the expectation, right? The original 100%. Expectation was he was the 16th overall pick. And then he was miscast as an off-ball linebacker with his 6'5", 260-pound frame.
Yeah.
And, as soon as he developed any kind of pass rush repertoire and it's put on film, and then, as the league does, and it's a league of adjustments, they adjust, and Zaven kind of was drawn dead as far as that. Now that's not the case any longer. I'm sure he's been putting in the work in the offseason, and it applies not only to Zaven, I think it applies to a guy like Cameron Thomas, who wasn't necessarily a scheme fit, and guys that you see and you're like, man, I wonder like what their deal is versus the guys that were sent packing. And the deal is that the full buy-in, guys that are working their ass off and fit the culture of the organization. So, Zaven Collins is in a spot right now where he's gonna have to play to continue his NFL career, continue his Cardinals career. And, it's going to be, if it works out, it's going to benefit the Arizona Cardinals, and it's going to benefit Zaven Collins, where I think, last year the same couldn't be said for the other first round pick that they decided to just cut bait on for a 7th round selection before the start of the season.
Illa Dre, $1.99, agreed. Our new D-line, Zaven, should have more help. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, you make an argument, Zaven was probably their best defensive lineman to begin last season. After they lost LJ Collier and those guys, it was Zaven out there. Ojulari wasn't healthy. He wasn't in shape yet. I mean, the defensive line didn't do Zaven any favors last year. And he didn't complain. He played through it. And I think he played most every game last year. So those are guys that you want to reward long-term. And again, I would love to see this, because I don't even like calling it a reclamation project, because that's disrespectful to Zaven. But like, can you just extend his NFL career, and can he do it in Arizona? Like, I think Humphries is a good example. Could not stay healthy under Bruce Arians, did not vibe with Bruce Arians. And here's what I'll give Cliff Kingsbury. Humphries played his best ball under a new head coach, under a new offensive system. It's what got him a new contract, right? So hopefully Zaven Collins can do the same, Bo.
No doubt about it. I mean, 24 years old, he'll turn 25 in May. And as you mentioned, he's been durable, right? I think he's missed one game in his NFL career. He damn near had his eye poked out last year. He's telling us in the media that his eye is just completely like pointing in a different direction, and he was a little iffy on it as he had to go to the hospital and get it checked out. And he didn't miss a game last year. He played all 17 games. He started all 17 games. Hit a pick. He had a couple passes batted down, a fumble recovery, and 3.5 sacks. When I hear coaches from the Cardinals talk about guys that are going to make big jumps from year one under the coaching staff to year two, I immediately think of Zaven Collins. There's going to be the opportunity for him to do that. And it was either JG or Rollis that said, like, his big thing is getting out there, knowing exactly what he needs to do, and then just reacting. Like, they know that he has the physical skill set to do some good things on the football field. Sometimes he gets lost trying to diagnose things and is a little slow to reacting. And that's going to be big here going in the year for him.